Guys, we're back with the work on our PC build, man. And just a reminder, help Virhyun stop eating rats, my friends. Tomorrow I feel like eating bread. Start sending the pics to Vir's account. Just kidding, become a member. Or go to the pinned comment link to help make money. And I want to get rich, damn it. Starting in a city where there are various extras walking around. Our
protagonist who was frozen there until then, just watching on his cell phone screen, thinking he left too early, wondering if anyone will show up, and considering he has many seats left so it doesn't matter, but then someone suddenly arrives behind him trying to scare him, and when he turned to look, the person came up from behind and startled him like this, so the kid ran off screaming, dude. Our protagonist quickly got ready there, prepared to jump into combat, but then it was Yona who simply goes and asks if he by any chance got scared, while watching closely there, saying it's been a good time, huh? That said, while she kept getting closer to him and said how long it had been since they last saw each other, and he tells her it has been about a year. It was hard to see her face because he didn't get a job right after that. Finished his studies. That said, he also starts to say that yes, today is to celebrate what he achieved. A job. This is the day they decided to spend together. Childhood friends, and this in turn is Choyona. She tells him that she has recently been busy, so he will soon find out what she was doing. She is supposedly his best friend, a monk, quotes, who has been getting closer to him since the beginning of classes. He said, arms crossed there, telling her, ha ha ha, but did you come alone? I thought you were coming with Gia too, right? Is that correct? She was right behind you just now, wasn't she? But then our protagonist takes a quick look back to see if he could find Gia, right? And my friend, when he glances back, Gia was already behind him, just saying a tender hi there. And this is his other friend called Lin Gia. Friend, right? And he looks at her face while rolling his eyes slightly, but it's been a long time since they've seen each other, yet he keeps saying that they almost never talking much. And he kept thinking when he was kind of down, like he didn't know what to talk about with her. He can't believe they go to the same place to drink and it doesn't work. That's because he doesn't talk much with her, even though he considers her a friend, if that made sense. Not to mention he even remembers how it was the first time they met. He simply went up to her and said, hi, I am a friend of Yona. And she went and asked who Yona is. Not even, yes, he knows Yona, and since he was always in the middle of situations there and Gia was also participating, there was no other choice but for them to meet, although knowing each other wasn't that great. Like that. Not to mention she still gives him a lot of trouble, but anyway. But now that he's used to that codfish attitude she has, not saying anything and seeming like a dead fish, that's her style. And since there are a lot of people today, they should introduce themselves and go inside to drink. That said, they were already inside drinking, toasting, clinking glasses, and congratulating our protagonist. Get a beer mo siya no job winner. Yeah. That said, after drinking a lot, soon Yona starts banging her beer glass on the table, saying, man, she even vents, saying loudly that our protagonist should quit his job, but like he suddenly quit the job. Gia even says, Stan just say, calm down, take it easy. She's drinking and saying things that don't make any sense there. However, Yona already put her head on the table, saying that she should be unemployed. She was stupid because she got the job immediately. That's nonsense. There's no reason for you to get the job right away. But our protagonist kept drinking and saying she didn't even care to celebrate that she got the job, while he was thinking that it's no wonder that he found it strange because she said, congratulations on having got it. Except she didn't think it was a good idea to have a job. Actually, she just called him there to be able to drink and complain about her job. That said, she had her hand on her face, saying to both of them that, well, at least unlike our protagonist, she got a job as soon as she graduated, even though she didn't want to work. What? But how come? Our protagonist looks at her face and says, what? What is this? Not to mention she said that he was the last to get a job, so he couldn't even get involved with someone. That's the truth. And she even asked if by any chance our protagonist was trying to get Yona's attention, but no, shut the mouse, that's not it. That said, she kept hinting at our protagonist, you said that after getting a job, the next goal was a girlfriend, right? Truth, yes, he said he would get a girlfriend after that, but our protagonist closes his eyes, saying how long ago he mentioned that, right? He doesn't remember, no, not to mention it's only been a week that he's busy adjusting things here and there, you know, and it's not time to think about a girlfriend. That's fact. While Gia was drinking her beer, he said that besides that, she also doesn't have a boyfriend. But then she remarked that the topic here isn't about her, but about our protagonist, not to involve her. By the way, while he was observing Gia from the corner of his eye, he was thinking that she's more grumpier than usual today. Is there something that upset her? That said, Yona puts both hands on the table, kind of getting up and saying, You'll know soon. Doji said, also mentioning that she doesn't even have time to stop by home, right? I even want to see if she really has a boyfriend. Yona's phone starts ringing there, making noise on the table, in the middle of the drink, and she got nervous saying there, why is this guy getting in touch with me now after work? I really hate this. And she doesn't even want to go back to work because of that. However, he has to answer, after all, it's work, right? And soon she gets up from the table saying she'll answer, she'll be right back, and our protagonist starts wondering how come Yona is going to answer the phone and leave him and Gia there alone without talk. The funniest thing is that even though they are both friends, neither of them talks, doesn't say hi, and there's this tense atmosphere with no one speaking nothing to each other. And on top of that, he was sort of glancing over saying that it's very strange, man, and that Yona should come back soon because he can't talk to her. And so the two of them would look at each other, kind of catch each other's gaze but not say anything. On the other hand, he kept observing, thinking that Gia, she always stays quiet when she's near him and talks very well with Yona, but she doesn't talk to him. Why? Having said that, he tries to start a conversation with her, smiling there, sort of smiling, right? Asking Gia if by any chance he didn't want to make a cheers with him, pointing at the glasses there, saying, wow, cheer. Yeah, I don't know, trying to liven up the place. But then Gia gives him a serious look, asking why he wants to do this with her. My god, at that moment, the protagonist goes back to drinking alone, saying that he shouldn't have said anything to her for the love of God, and tells her to forget about what he said. Meanwhile, he kept his disagonia to do what Bonnie kept drinking his own, saying he shouldn't have even said that to in the first place. That said, Yona had returned to the table saying that she finished the call and asked what they were talking about, but it was nothing important. Literally, they didn't say anything the whole time she was away. Our protagonist was thinking there that Gia normally doesn't go beyond the first round. Yes, she doesn't drink more than one glass there. She drinks at most just one and then leaves, and doesn't feel comfortable seeing other people drink the second round. And if he says he's going for a second round, she'll leave as usual, as she always does. That said, he goes straight to the point, putting his hand on the table saying, yeah, guys, how about we drink a little more, but this time in my own room, because there we can drink as much as we want. And the funniest part is that in the middle of this, Gia simply accepted and said it was a good idea. And our protagonist was like, how come she accepted? And my friend, from this point on, things got stranger and stranger. That's because they literally went to the protagonist's house and stayed in his room. While the three of them were sitting around the table there, he kept thinking about how this happened. She literally never accepted the second round, let alone if he said it was to go to his house. Having said that, Yona soon starts to comment in the middle of the two that the money he got to buy that house is money. A bit illicit, right? Because he didn't get any job, and only now that he did, he already bought a house. But he says there that he borrowed the money from his parents. This leaves Yona a bit frustrated because he doesn't work, never worked, and is only working now. And how did he manage to buy it? Our protagonist even asked her if perhaps she wanted him to continue living with his parents, but she looks to the side there. And she sees there's a room on the side with a door even. And seeing that, she even sighs, saying, I have an idea, huh? Pointing to the place, she says that they need to take everything out of that side room. And the protagonist asks, why would he take things out of the side room? No, makes sense. And the funniest part is that she casually says it's because that's going to be her room, and he responds to her, no, get out. What are you trying to do in my house, opening a shop, is it? Get out. And on top of that, he got closer, looking and saying, Yona, are you really thinking about quitting your job and living here with me? Yona goes on saying that's what she's saying. She really wants to quit her job. She only said it because she was angry at that exact moment, but she's going, you know? However, she tells a bit of the truth. The truth is she wants to quit that job. She will stay just one more year there and will leave. There's no other way. Having said that, the protagonist soon goes and asks Gia why she's exaggerating so much. Usually, he even tells her that she'll only stay for the first round and then come home, but then Gia gives him a look, staring right at him, you know? And she grabs another can there, saying she's going to drink one more. She asked our protagonist if by any chance he had ever seen her drunk. She doesn't get drunk easily, not to mention he shouldn't be whining with just 3 bottles on the floor and went there and drank a lot and so on, and she's better than him. She talked, but in the end, after an hour, Gia was sprawled on the floor. He was already asleep. She couldn't even stand. That said, some time passed. Then our protagonist told Yona that she should go home because it was very late, and he asked what she would do if she could take Gia too, especially since Gia is asleep, not woke up yet. Meanwhile, Yona goes on commenting to our protagonist that, wow, she doesn't even know where Gia's house is, and our guy asks her what she means by that. How come she doesn't know where Gia's house is? Because they drink together and don't know where each other's house is. But then Yona makes a comment that really makes sense. As Gia herself said earlier, she never got drunk. No one has seen her drunk, so there was no reason for Yona to know where her house is and take her home. Then tutte di A BD made a little more sense. That said, soon Yona goes there to try to wake Gia up, because what if she can wake her up? And she says where the path to her house is. The funniest part is that in the middle of that, she even says that if she gave Gia a little kiss on the cheek, maybe she'd wake up like a princess, right? You never know, right? And having said that, she actually goes there and kisses Gia's face, saying she should wake up. Will she wake up because of that? But our protagonist was getting up there, saying he's exhausted, was almost staggering and falling already, just observing the scene. However, amidst all that, after doing many things, Yorna says she can't do it. But then Proto says, of course, that's not going to work. Do you think this is a fairy tale where a kiss will wake a woman up? And Yorna looks at him and asks if he can drop her off at his house, because after all, he has a room there left over, and he could leave her without a problem. Not to mention, she looks at him saying that they are friends, right? And that maybe he is not strange at all, does things strange with her, right? After all, she's just going to sleep there, you know? And our protagonist raises his head, saying that, all stuttering there, saying, well, she wouldn't, no. Despite us being friends from Gia's perspective, I don't think she would want to sleep at my house. That is indeed true. However, Yorna soon pats him on the back, saying that then you can take this opportunity to get closer to her. And that's how you will become better friends. Proto says that's definitely not going to work. That said, Yorna simply opens the door to the protagonist's house and proceeds to leave, while paralyzing him at the door, seeing that she's already leaving. So please take care of our friend Gia. Our protagonist wanted to tell her, wait, don't go, take this woman away. I want to from here, and it didn't work. She closed the door and left. And yes, from now on, it was just our protagonist and Gia, who hadn't woken up and was still sleeping. He had already put her in bed. He even started to think about what might happen when she woke up there. Surely she would say that he must have touched her and that he is a crazy scoundrel. He tries to explain the scene, but it wouldn't help. Nothing. And well, right, soon he will just let her sleep in his room, and he will go directly to pass her, and he will think about it tomorrow. What he will do then, just tomorrow, go to sleep. With that said, soon he tidies up the living room nicely and lies down there with a pillow and plenty of blankets. However, he turned one way, turned the other, and couldn't fall asleep. He even pulled the blanket over himself, but couldn't sleep at all. He even thought there, closing his eyes very tightly, that seriously, man, he can't sleep because she's at his house. It's uncomfortable in his opinion. And why didn't she go to her house as usual? Did she drink a lot today? Going crazy, this woman. But in the midst of that, our protagonist almost fell asleep, however, heard a noise from on the other side of the room, which he found very strange. He was almost asleep already, but could this strange sound? Could it? Is it Gia? And what could she be doing in the middle of the night? Did she really wake up? He's hearing that she's looking for something in his room, but what could it be? That said, he soon starts walking towards his room, thinking that don't tell me she's looking for medicine because she's with a headache. Is that really it? He quickly arrived at his room, knocking on the door simply out of politeness, of course. He gave 2 knocks, and Gia, who was shuffling through things, hadn't even noticed the noise. However, he soon went in, since it's his house, his room, asking what she was looking for there. As he watched, she was crouched on the floor at the drawer, simply putting something in her bag. What she doing? Our Proto doesn't understand. He even takes a glance at her bag, but she closes it so he can't see what's inside. He stood there confused about why she was doing that, and after saying that, out of nowhere she starts moving, and he's asking why. She's going home, and she just got up, walked past him while he was asking, but he's sure there isn't any taxi, no, any subway now. He thought she needs to go home in the morning and not now, it's too late. But then she quickly pulled her hair to the side there, telling him how she can sleep in that place, especially because she says on top of that she doesn't know what he is going to do with her. Man, at that moment, Proto thinks and that miserable girl. However, he even sees there because he knew this would happen, regardless if she woke up tomorrow or now, right? But having said that, he has a bit of conscience. He puts his hand on her shoulder, saying she shouldn't do that. The best thing for her now, while he observed, trying to give a little smile there to show he isn't so dangerous, that she should stay at his place because it's already late. There's no way for her to leave by taxi or metro. Everything is closed, but she was telling him that he should let her go. About 2 or 3 times she said the same thing, but then she got so nervous to the point of looking at his hand. So on her shoulder she said, dude, aren't you going to let me go? And right then, she quickly bumped into the corner, saying that this jerk should let her go now because this is unpleasant. He was apologizing to her, but at that exact moment, her purse opened. And when her purse opened, he saw something that was inside her purse. And he put inside her bag and was about to leave his house. He immediately asked her, Oh, hold on, wait a minute, don't go now because I'm seeing something strange inside your bag. That's because he immediately tells her that what's inside her bag is something of mine. She gets puzzled, doesn't even know what to say to him, and he gets straight to the point saying that what was in her bag while he was sweating is a part of his clothes. What is this? And asking seriously now, he asks her why that's in her bag, but she trembles, saying nothing to him. She didn't even know what to say because what argument should she give here? And she just turned to the side, trembling like that, looking at his face, embarrassed by the situation, not knowing what to say. And in the middle of that, she simply gave a smack right on his hand because he must have been getting close to her because she was shaking a lot and she was getting more and more scared and quite embarrassed, asking what do you mean? What's he talking about? You know, like as if it was a big misunderstanding while she was going to leave his apartment. Not to mention that she quickly turned her head, puts it on the doorknob, was about to open the door and leave the apartment. And when she quickly opened the door, our protagonist came to the door asking where she was going and to wait. Why is she leaving like this? Is she upset with him? He's just asking something that should be asked. However, she went and slammed the door in his face. He didn't understand anything. Simply, he was paralyzed while staring at the door without understand. And our protagonist increasingly thought she had mental problems. After all, it doesn't make sense, dude. It doesn't. He offered to take care of her at his place and she simply did that. Alright, right? She ran away with one of his clothing pieces. Thank you. Having said that, he soon returned to his room and began to make the bed there. After all, she lay down there and didn't even make the bed.
And again, todo, while he was dropping the blanket there, que possível, that he kept thinking about why she took a piece of his clothing. He didn't understand why she did that, right? It's impossible to even imagine why.
That she would do that. However, he thought a little on the side, based on the many reasons why she would have taken it, given that she doesn't even like him, to the point where he can't even touch her and she just slaps his hand away. And that's really true. While turning to the corner and looking at the drawer she had opened and overshadowed his things there, he kept thinking that even if she's drunk, it's strange to rummage through other people's drawers when you don't even have permission to do so, especially because it is lack of manners. But having said that, he glanced to the side and stared seriously at the drawer there. Do I have to see what's inside? What was she fiddling with there? And no, simply the next day had arrived and Yona was with our protagonist, asking with her hand on her face, what do you mean? What is he saying with that? I mean then that they drank a lot yesterday and our protagonist decided to call Yona today. She's hungover, she wants sleep, but it's okay, She sighs there, saying that thinking about it from a certain point of view, raising her hands to the side, that our protagonist is still drunk from yesterday, isn't he? And our protagonist says that he's on top of that, saying to her as he put his hand on his chest that it's been almost 2 years since she's seen him, you know, and still he's talking about perfectionist Gia, who literally went to his house, took his clothes. It's true that Gia is really the kind of person who drinks a lot, and our protagonist also drinks a lot, but she wouldn't do that. And furthermore, shouting there, saying to Yona that this is absurd. Gia wouldn't do that. He is not going to believe our protagonist, and the protagonist places a hand to the side, turning his face, thinking that really she won't believe him, especially because Gia is the type of person who never showed such an act. But of course our protagonist tells her, turning to the side, that's why he called Yona there. She was acting differently from how he actually remembered her. She was normal. While she was thinking, Yona was saying there, so what does she want her to do? Like, go get the piece of clothing at Gia's house or fight with her? Not to mention that she even asks, turning to the side, if our protagonist is going to call the police just because she took a piece of his clothes. No, the protagonist replies to her that it's not that serious, right? He's not going to call the police on a friend who just took a piece of clothing from him, even though he doesn't know why she took it from his house, right? But it's fine. Oh, but speaking of the devil, just then Gia ends up calling, actually sending messages to Yona, and she picks up the phone thinking that actually while he was listening to her earlier story, she sent a message to Gia, obviously. But our protagonist asks her why she's doing this. And guess what? She was looking at the messages there and she literally sent to Gia saying, oh partner, something important, something happened yesterday at our place. Protagonist and Gia literally replied to Yona that nothing happened, and our protagonist was just thinking, oh miserable girl, she literally said nothing happened. Nothing happened. And she asked our protagonist what he's going to do now since Gia said nothing happened. His anger was such that he was almost pulling his lips off, asking what Yona was talking about. But the funny thing is that at that moment, while Yona was showing the cell phone to our protagonist, he kept saying in his head that she was asking Gia like that. Man, she thinks that if a message asks if she did something, she's going to respond that she did. No one will admit what they did wrong, the person will just deny it. And more than that, man, still by
Above, Gia thinks that nothing happened. How can Gia see that as if it were known?
nothing. How does she feel taking something from her friend she doesn't like, man? But anyway, soon Yona will put the phone back on the table without making much noise while she watches our protagonist attentively saying that she now thinks she's done everything she could for him and helped, right, my girl? And even saying that there's no other way but to sort out the rest personally. And with that said, we were already in front of Gia's face, who was asking why she called her today. Yeah, and our protagonist, who was talking to Gia sitting in front of him, was quiet. No one said anything to each other, and when he was there thinking, he realized he ended up doing as Yona told him, right?
He ended up calling Gia thinking it would solve the problem, but where should he start? How is he going to discuss this with her? But anyway, looking deeper into her eyes, he kept thinking that the issue about her taking his clothes yesterday must be brought up quickly to try to understand why she did that and why she lied as well. And well, he tried to bring up the matter quickly, very sweaty, and managed to tell her,
saying that he has to get straight to the point. Last night, literally last night, while she was pulling the coffee mug there, he was telling her that she, last night, took a piece of his clothing and simply left your house without saying anything. And Gia looked at him while sipping her mug of coffee there. He said he would be direct, but is he acting crazy by any chance? Not to mention, she even asked why she would take one of his clothes and asked if he's still drunk from yesterday, man. Our protagonist is like, what? How come she's not going to say anything? Not to mention, she makes up another story on top of this story. Look what she says. She tells our protagonist that while she left his house, he was literally sleeping. In other words, she left our protagonist's house, he was sleeping and saw nothing. He was dreaming. While placing the coffee mug on the table after drinking a lot there, she says that in a filthy house she wouldn't stay. And why would she take his clothes on top of that? Of course he was dreaming, and my friend, she went even further while looking at his face, saying that he called someone who was busy like Gia to talk about shameless things. Doesn't he really have any shame? And my friend here, our protagonist, no longer knew what to say. He didn't know if he should cry, laugh, sing, or just act like a fool, especially because he remembers exactly as coisas. Ele lembrou como foi aquele dia. Aquela vez, ela literalmente sumiu da casa dele, mostrando que estava muito envergonhada com a situação. E agora ela está fingindo que esqueceu, mas o nosso protagonista diz que é sério que ela está falando isso. É claro que ele não vai deixar as coisas acabarem dessa maneira. Enquanto colocava os braços logo em cima da mesa, and with his hand to his face, he said he's sure she put a piece of his clothing in her bag. He even saw that she was surprised by the reaction and then embarrassed after he said she took his clothes. And my friend, she became even more embarrassed. She seriously asked him if by any chance he was drunk, right? And on top of that, saying he's drunk, it wasn't working. The prota said one thing, she said another. He said something, she said something else. None of what they were saying made any sense. And on top of that, he was just standing there sweating, not knowing what to say.
Even because he thinks they will resent each other just because of something that has nothing to do with it. And on top of that, she doesn't admit that.
Man, how is he going to change this subject in a way that good for Gia? But then he opened his mouth looking at her, saying that the reason he called her is not because of her clothes, but because a valuable item from his house ended up disappearing. Yes, something went missing in his room, and that only happened after she left it. And my friend, at that moment, she was shocked by this situation.
that's because she arrived shouting, saying, I didn't take anything from you. No, and our protagonist asked her, really?
So did you really not put your hand in my drawer, and take anything just because it was open at the moment? And on top of that, he looked at her, saying that if she didn't take it, then it means she took his clothes, doesn't it?
Yeah, what do you mean? She looked at his face, quite embarrassed. What do you mean? She didn't take either of them. That wasn't it. Not even that. On the other hand, he kept thinking that she must be embarrassed because she left his house so shamelessly. But then he kept asking himself whether everything he said to her just now was a mistake. Should he really have said that just because of a piece of clothing that has nothing to do with it? He could have just let it slide and been more careful next time. He raised his hand, telling Gia that yesterday they drank too much and he thinks he made a mistake, so he is embarrassed for having said that. So he was going to say that.
She says she understands. out of nowhere, in the middle of it. And our protagonist gets startled.
Because he wanted to try to fix things by saying that he should take back everything he said, but she said she understood. And the funniest thing is that in the middle of that, she gets so embarrassed saying she would give him a piece of her clothing too. She just randomly said that out of the blue. So that's basically an equivalent exchange, right? It's worth accepting, but the strange thing is our protagonist asking, what do you mean? She was just saying he had dementia because he couldn't figure out what was happening yesterday, and now she said she would give him another piece, but this time hers? Dude, you won't believe the best part. After the girl didn't lie about a piece of her clothing at that very moment, they know they're in a restaurant there, a cafe, I don't know what day that is. But dude, she lied about the
thing. Literally calmly there, not too worried about who was watching, man. Everyone just like a what? And when she finally takes it and throws it on the table, guys, she gave me a piece of her clothing from not at all. And on top of that, the girl asked me if I'm satisfied now, you know, like I took your shorts but now take mine too. Man, the protagonist didn't understand anything, right? Because I want my shorts back. I don't want you to give me a piece of yours either, miserable. And he was completely lost, right guys? He looked at the table, looked at her, looked at the table, and like, what's happening here?
And at the same moment, the protagonist got up from there and started yelling at her, saying, what the hell are you doing, girl? Are you going crazy or what? No, how do you expect to satisfy me by giving this
thing for me? And right away he tells her with his hand on his face, turned to the side, put that crap back there, damn it. Stop trying to show me that crap. Do you think I want to get in trouble too? I don't want to get caught. And the worst part is that in the middle of this, the girl came back, dude, shouted back at him saying he just needs to accept her piece of clothing, guys, and that he can forget everything that happened, you know? Then it's all good, dude from Sky. He asks her, so what kind of logic is that, my friend? At the same moment, he sits back down, wondering in his head, why the heck did she take that thing off with a bunch of people around, man? And by the way, he sat down so quickly, guys, that the coffee cup was wobbling back and forth, and he grabs the The coffee cup falls, dude, and the stuff spills all over the table, which is obvious too, right? And when they both take a look there, her piece of clothing, which she had thrown on the table, got wet along with the coffee cup, which means it's wet. Oh, really? And look at the excuse she makes up, right? Saying she can't use her piece of clothing anymore because now the thing is wet, and no, she definitely can't wash it and use it again. For her, it has to be thrown away. Yeah, must be well off, right? Scoundrel. And on top of that, she gets mad, dude, saying there that you can take it then. Because of you, you threw away such a precious item. And she keeps saying more, with the protagonist asking what he was doing and that he really was the most useless old person. At that moment, the protagonist couldn't take it, man. He got mad and started yelling at her in the middle of the cafe, telling her to stop it right now. Is Dia losing her mind or something? Man, Dia was instantly completely shocked because he had never done that before, you know? He had never shouted at her to the point of being nervous. Of course, as I said, right? They were in the middle of a cafe and everyone was looking at that, shouting and fighting one side and the other. At the same moment, the protagonist turns his face to the side, puts his hand on top, thinking, I didn't want to be angry with her, man. She's such a precious friend to me. I didn't know. Despite having stolen my shorts at my house, he was just study. And however, he says that he was all shaky there, raising his hand. You were Dia, please don't be mad at me. I didn't want to fight with you. You're a childhood friend, you know? But she said, man, with her head down that she didn't even know. How much that was precious to him. So for this reason, she took just a piece of his clothing, folks, thinking it wouldn't be missed. But still, he ended up getting mad at her, a childhood friend. And that made her so embarrassed in front of everyone that she shed a little tear there, saying she was a very bad girl for taking his piece of clothing. The protagonist doesn't understand anything anymore. It's worse than me here. I don't know if I read what she says or if he reads what he says because I don't know who's making sense. Here with the words, and he was lost. She was lost. He didn't understand why she was playing the victim when it was all her fault, but he had to solve the problem, right guys? After all, he was the one who yelled at her first, so he went there trying to tell her not to worry. It's all good. You can keep the piece of clothing you took from my house. There's no problem. It doesn't matter. And who said she cares about all this? She says she doesn't. Now she acts all tough, guys, crossing her arms, or at least trying to cross her arms, saying she'll return your boxers. Don't worry, I won't keep them either. But still, she was acting crazy, saying that first she needs to find them, right? Among the mess at my place, didn't find anything. You're crazy, everything's messy in there. And yet by
above, man, she says he will have to pick up his underwear there at the house.
from her. In other words, guys, he goes to her house, my friend. However, the protagonist thinks a bit and doesn't care about what happened to his clothes, you know? He just wanted to know why the hell she went to his house and stole his clothes, but he still sees Dia. The way she is now upset is completely different from the kind of person she was before. But regardless of whether he could get it back or not, if he could maintain the friendship, despite the fact that, for me, this is not friendship at all, but anyway. He started following her because she said he would have to get the piece of clothing she left at his house, and so he went, right? And from there, Dia in the middle of the path just became all happy. Of course she was happy, right, guys? That's what she wanted. Just listen to what I'm saying, guys. Things are going to get ugly from here on.
Ahead, and in the middle of that, the girl suddenly crouches down in the street, kind of out of nowhere, giving a little giggle to the protagonist. I don't know if I should be scared of this mess or if I find it attractive. I don't know.
But anyway, overlook what she did and just followed the script because a good amount of time had passed and it was already night. That time was late, now it became night, and we arrived at her house. Our protagonist, who was already there beside her, simply waiting for her to open the door because out of courtesy, he won't just handle her door. She goes ahead inviting him in, saying that this is her home, home sweet home. But
Dude, when he goes inside to look, there's a bunch of mess in the middle of the room. Damn, it's worse than my room here, bro.
worse than that, I can't even find my clothes sometimes here. And she herself had said he would have to look for his clothes, you know? The ones she stole from his house. But man, when he sees that whole mess, he wants to give up already, right? Because it's just a little piece of clothing. What does he want to do with a piece of clothes, dude? Just throw that stuff away, I don't know. Especially with the mess in her house. It's going to take him almost a century to find it. And that's exactly what happened, right guys? He looked in the washing machine, looked in the corner of the room, and found nothing. Of course, he's not going to recover that thing of his, but he still kept thinking things got a bit awkward after what happened. Especially because he went to her house to get what she stole.
Man. The worst part is that she stole something that doesn't even make sense. And better yet, the face she made right there in the middle of the cafe. Why did she do that, right guys? I also don't.
I know. And wondering if she really doesn't see him as a man, dude. In the middle of that, he sees some of her clothes thrown on the floor randomly, you know? Because the house was a mess. Of course, there would be clothes thrown around the washing machine too. And when he picks up a piece of clothing that was there, he grabs the thing in his hand and lifts it, thinking, wow, it's thinner than I expected, this little outfit of hers. Does she wear this kind of thing too? But guys, me?
Tell me something, when you go to someone's house and pick up someone's orbas and the person sees you're holding their orbas, what will the person think?
Crap, right? And that's what Dia thinks when she sees that when looking at her clothes behind him. Man, Dia right away grabs the guy by the head, you know? Pulling his hair so hard, my friend, that she pulls the boy's head.
Bending his neck back and bastard, let go of my clothes, you wretch. Do you want to steal from me too? Oh, I won't do that. No, I won't steal from you. No, don't worry. Not to mention, she also says she told him to look for
your clothes and not rummage through their stuff and keep holding to see if it's big or not. Are you a psychopath who wants to get arrested, huh? Go to the husband of the open ear. But he keeps saying there that, well, you said to look around, right? Now you don't want me looking at your clothes scattered around the house, not to mention your messy house. Go clean up. But she asks if he wants to die, guys. Say that again and see, dude is going to cut this neck now. But anyway, she suddenly changes the subject, just freaking out on him, saying she's cold, so she's going to change and tells him he can stay there but not to touch anything except his own clothes. And did you guys understand what she just said here? Yes, my friend, she, who was already blushing, said she would change with him in the house. I'll say nothing, but alright, the guy was just chilling there looking for his things while on the other side of what was the laundry room looking for his clothes in the washing machine. Kid only knows how to look for the damn clothes in the washing machine. He thinks the damn thing will be there. It'll be thrown in the middle of the sofa, somewhere that he doesn't even know. But he kept thinking in the meantime about what she had told him, right? That he shouldn't touch anything, guys. And look who she's talking to, because she tells him not to touch anything, but she went to his house and stole his stuff. Thank you. But calm, the problem was just beginning. He was getting up to look somewhere else, because even though he's been searching the whole room, he is sure there's nothing there, but still he has to find something better there in the room. Like in the middle of the mess, behind the sofa, under the rug, who knows, right? Hey dude, I can't handle it here. This image is too bizarre. Look at all the trash in her room, man. The girl is literally totally disorganized.
That's even wrong, you see. But the dude, after that, couldn't stand searching anymore. And the guy went to sit on her couch to be able to rest a bit. I don't know what the hell he's tired from, but he went to rest. And in the middle of that, he starts thinking that she's taking too long. Especially since, if you remember, she said she was going to change because she was wearing
Cold, if you know what I mean, but still, he said that if she plans to take that long, he might as well have just grabbed the clothes and gotten out of there right away. But no, she decided to change clothes with him inside the clothes, I mean inside the house. I said,
wrong again. And suddenly, opening the door handle, he starts glancing around the other corners. He kept thinking that he maybe should take a quick look at her room or in the storage or who knows where. There might be a random storage room in her house, right? And who wouldn't doubt that if she catches him messing with her things again, he will get in trouble. But it happened, dude. He opened the door there to see what was behind that door, which probably could be her room or a storage room. Like I said, I don't know why the heck there would be a storage room in her house, but I'm saying there was. And man, when he opens and takes a look, what?
inside, man, the kid gets a fright. That's because he opens the magic door, you know. The girl set up an entire display with custom-made furniture to put stuff from
Our protagonist. And the funny, strange thing is that he didn't realize anything except when he zoomed in like this to see what was there.
What was on that shelf there, guys? It was full of his stuff. Spoon, love letter, hat, mirror. Dude, do you have any idea what it's like for someone to have their things at home on a shelf there in the corner?
Stored, and mainly his works, right? Obviously, I would say it's in the middle too, right, guys? But at least what matters is that he found it, right? Not so bad. But man, what he was really worried about, and obviously I am too, is
Because, damn, this girl has some of his clothes and accessories at home. Dude, it makes no sense for him to literally find an entire shelf full of his stuff, man. Oh, and speak of the devil, guess who shows up to see him rummaging through her stuff? She just
appear. And when she takes a look and sees the protagonist going through her things, my friend, she turns redder than a blue pepper. And right then, my noble friend, she got startled and saw a taser. You know, that little thing that shocks, guys. I don't know if you're aware, but it gives a shock. The important thing is that it shocks. It was right next to her. She immediately grabs that taser, the thing that shocks, and man, she asks what he's doing, and all blushing grabs him right by the shoulder. And my friend, right, I don't know what got into this psychopath's head, but she grabs the thing, comes from there to here, from right to left, to hit our protagonist with shocked. When he's about to make a move, he asks, "Hold on, don't shock me, no. Why are you going to shock me, you bastard?" Elasto. However, how to persist, our protagonist waited for that shock moment, feeling the whole body twitching, you know, but he didn't feel anything. Guys, it didn't even work, and by luck, or I don't know, misfortune, because who knows, it just didn't shock him and he froze, and so did she. And then he looked at her hand and she looked at his hand, and like she said, "Why didn't this work? Is it out of charge? What is this, man?" She asked if the thing was out of charge. She literally wanted to shock. The problem was our protagonist, because the guy was already scared. Man, this girl is not right in the head. And at the same moment, he started yelling at her, "Right, I'm going home." But she was saying, "Why are you going home? You haven't even found those orba yet." And at the same moment, she went there, grabbing him by the wrist to hold him, to not let him leave, you know? And she was all blushing, still asking the same thing, man. Why is he trying to run away from her house? But there's no running away, he's just leaving, darn it. And he didn't even find what he was supposed to find, but the protagonist kept saying to her, not even looking at her face, that he's scared, guys. Obviously, right? Even I would be. The girl tried to give a shock in him, and please, he has heard to let him go, but still, man, the girl was asking why. She was just holding a taser, but didn't even shock him. It was just a joke, man, a joke. Of Gugu, what's up, guys? She went crazy saying it was just a joke, and on top of that, she blushed awkwardly saying it was just a misunderstanding. I didn't want to shock you because I don't know what. And dude, he just said he was getting scared, especially because this girl is a real psychopath. Crazy, man, and it didn't turn out any other way. On top of that, she was yelling at him even more, saying, "Just listen to me, it's a misunderstanding, I didn't want to shock you. No, idiot, the thing didn't even work, it didn't shock, so it's fine." And since he was so scared to the point of not even knowing what she might do to him if he didn't obey, he sat down in front of her and she sat down to both discuss the matter. Just a dialogue, just observe what I'm saying. This that they were just thinking, because Anan, our protagonist, wow, why is she keeping me locked up in her house? Does she want to kidnap me and sell me to the highest bidder too, and still. On top of that, the best part, he is thinking about the closet that was filled with his stuff, things he thought he would never see again, but was in her house. And detailed, they are just friends, guys, just friends, believe it. And he also wondered if she is doing this with his things because she is going crazy. Or maybe she was never really right in the head and he didn't even notice.
Huh? And that was what made him increasingly thoughtful and sweaty. He only did what she ordered because he
felt pressured, but even so, he's scared, man. With his head down, he was thinking, guys, should I try to escape from here, call the police and say I've been kidnapped here at my friend's house? They'd laugh at him, right? When he says he was literally kidnapped by his childhood friend, they'll say, oh, foolish, can't handle.
He couldn't even save himself. What do worse, I'm not even kidding. People are literally going to say that about him, right? But anyway, she soon starts the conversation there, getting his attention. He doesn't understand and looks at her face, already thinking, man, I better be careful here. What if she's pointing a gun at me from up on the ceiling and I don't even know it? And then she said to him like this, kind of to the side, why did he try to leave her apartment?
Suddenly? And that shouldn't even be the topic, but anyway, she asked what he was doing inside, I don't know what, and didn't. You can leave. In short, she says he can take off without finding what he wanted inside. But then he asked her if she's really serious. Guys, she almost literally shocked him. After that, there's no argument, right guys? But anyway, she still kept saying with the thing in her hand that this here is not working. Yay! Just a toy, it doesn't give a shock. At most, it gives 250,000 volts. Otherwise, it doesn't shock. The protagonist gives him a look and says, right, no way she did that. I said, no way she did that. And the crazy man, are you gonna tell me that she
Said the thing is a toy. Doesn't work, even though she just mentioned that the thing was out of battery. She was surprised herself when she said it was out of battery and wasn't working. And my friend, right, from here the argument was cut off immediately.
Both remained silent without saying anything. She didn't know what to say to him because he was actually right about this part, right? And on top of that, he told her, you still want me to stay here and listen to you?
You almost literally cut me off, girl. You stole my stuff and I don't know what else. And moreover, he takes out from the shelf that he saw guys with full of his stuff, man. What is that, girl? Are you going crazy, stealing my belongings too?
But she says, no. Yeah, I just took this because I wanted to sell it. I didn't have money to buy bread. Look at the excuse she made up, guys. She says that all of this is her collection. Man.
How do you tell a person that you stole their stuff, that you make a collection of their things, man? Alright, I'll steal my friend's car and say I'm collecting too, whatever. The protagonist is taken aback and asks, what? You tired of me, huh, girl? Who steals the neighbor's stuff and says it's a collection, you fool? Wait, but no, she kept saying, don't look at me like that as if I'm weird. I'm not crazy. I'm definitely not crazy. I only did it because...
I'm not crazy, but she is.
Looking like a crazy person, there's nothing to say here. But well, she keeps saying that this happened when she was picking up the things he dropped on the ground, guys. And it just happened that she picked them up and made a shelf to put his things as her hobby. Man, do you understand the level of this here? The girl managed to make up a whole excuse for something that isn't even relevant.
The main guy glances down and asks what the heck she's talking about, man. This makes no sense at all, dude. The more she talks, the stranger things get. There's no way to justify what she's saying now. It doesn't make sense.
But no. She was all embarrassed that.
And he said, oh, what do you mean collecting my things as your hobby? There's no hobby of collecting a friend's things, in quotes, right? But she said that's exactly it, right? And that is one of the other reasons why she brought him to your house. Oh dear.
Dude, when she said she only took him to her house because of her hobby, she got embarrassed because she blurted out something she shouldn't have, right? We let a secret slip, damn. At that moment, the protagonist kept his head down, scared, right?
Even Paddy, because he asked her if she really said that on purpose. Did she actually make him go to her house just to put him on the shelf just like she did with the items she stole from him? The guy is already freaking out, saying, you brought me to your house on purpose, didn't you? Just so you could knock me out in here and leave me on the shelf like a toy for you to use. Das is you puppy.
Although I would tell you guys, I'm gonna say, if a girl acts crazy with me and says, wanted, I'm gonna steal you and leave you on my shelf at home. I'm going to sell with you, but I'm more to us.
Take me home and I will. I'll stay there. And she said, no, that's not what you're thinking. I'm definitely not going to put you on the shelf and sell you tomorrow. The excuse she was making up is that actually she wanted him to go to her house, but she never had a chance to take him to her house. And of course, she didn't want to shock the protagonist and leave him knocked out on the floor, certainly.
Trust me, plus me, come on. And then she kept saying that she wanted to take him to his house. house just to shock him and wanted to kill me and keep me locked in her hobby too. The guy was having an existential crisis already. His fear of her was so great that he couldn't even think straight. Besides, he said he should have realized when she stole a piece of his clothing. Man, look at all this stuff she stole from him.
Toothpaste, toothbrush, tablet, bottle. You even agree about the tablet. The tablet is to sell, you know, but the rest of it doesn't even make sense. And more, the kid is almost getting up and putting his hand on the floor, saying that if she is done, he should go now. There's nothing to talk about, man. This is non-negotiable. She went off the rails. This is craziness, and he was stupid for trying to listen to her, guys.
Judging the kind of person she is, there's no way, man. How on earth would he stay there when she's trying to kill him? He's afraid of her, doesn't even want to talk to her anymore. And at the same time, the guy is already trying to get up to leave.
And she just watched. And she tried to say to him, wait, no, don't go. I was just joking. It was Gugu's prank. It's Gugu. Look, the camera's back there. The camera back there. Look, Zhao is filming. And she tried to say, guys, wait a bit. Don't go. It's not what you think. It's a misunderstanding. Look, the worst excuse you have, man, is getting caught red-handed and saying it's not what you think.
Yeah, what can I say? Oh, for sure it wasn't you who betrayed me there, you little snitch. And he asked her, what do you mean a misunderstanding? How can I understand something you can't even explain, saying that you steal from me to put on the shelf as a hobby? What kind of hobby is that, for crying out loud? Smoking cigarettes I can understand, but this? And no. She kept blushing more and more, not knowing what to say. Always asking why he's doing this to her, huh? Why? Dude, what do you mean he's doing this to her? What do you mean? And more, she kept telling him that. I know I usually seem like I'm not paying attention to you, but I really like you a lot. She went crazy saying that, guys. And moreover, okay, she tells him she's always been interested in
our protagonist. What's this, guys? Oh, but it's fine, right? He looks at her and thinks, you didn't need to steal my stuff too, did you? Damn it. Leaving.
all my clothes are there. But even after understanding what she said, he would blush. She really went crazy, didn't she? Saying she liked him. But as I said, right, guys? Didn't need to steal my things. Just leave everything there. Just say you like me, right? And the girl goes all confident there. Confident in quotes, right? Blushing, saying that yes, that's right. The reason I collected all those things that belong to you is because I love you.
Love, what is this? And also, she stole his things that night for this exact reason. But guys, learn one thing that Virhao is going to tell you now. Never trust a snake because it has venom, you know? At the same time, she says she liked him. You know, the taser she said wasn't charged. The thing starts to give me little shocks. Yes, at that moment, the protagonist said he knew, you see? And even though she said it was a toy, it really wasn't a toy. It's working. And the girl was acting crazy, getting closer and closer to him with the taser in hand, just giving a weak laugh. And he keeps saying, what did you say was discharged? How did you charge it if you didn't plug it in? You're saying it was a toy? But guys, the protagonist was the only one who wasn't understanding the situation. He kept asking how she charged the thing, even though she said it was discharged, but it wasn't discharged, obviously, right? And he was increasingly pressing himself against the wall, saying, yeah, how can you expect me to understand you? You say you like...
Why are you trying to throw me into the hole now, damn it? I'm not even worth 2 cents. For God's sake, let me live. But no, man, she got closer and closer to him, climbed on top of the protagonist, acting crazy, she was saying, licking her lips as if she was going to literally eat the guy. That all he has to do now is to do that she tells him to do. I don't know if you understood, but it's shut up and do what I'm telling you, bastard. In his memory, the protagonist was already shouting, Gia, why are you doing this? You're crazy. You want to kill me. Help. They're going to kill me here.
But man, things get worse from here because he's screaming and she just goes and sticks the taser right on his neck.
Him, dude, with a psychopath face, she now showed what she really is, guys, saying that he should stop trying to run away, otherwise something
will happen to him. So here's the burning question, right? If it were you, the famous virgins and subscribers of
Virgin, would you simply accept it or try to hit her and run away? Though if you hit her, you'd go to Maria da Penha, right? So I wouldn't advise doing that, but still, she was getting closer to him, saying he shouldn't be scared, right, guys? After all, she will be gentle. Dude, look at the level of this here, man. This story is going from 0, like, way too fast. I'm not understanding anything here.
Guys, I'm getting lost too. He was already telling her not to mess with him, right? Don't mess with me. I'm a serious man. I don't like silly jokes. Ninusi...
And he kept saying that she could at least put away the taser, but she still had the taser on his neck and she wouldn't put it away, man. But okay. She decided that maybe she would put it away if he obeyed her quietly without saying a single word. Shut up and obey. Having said that, just stay quiet and she won't shock him, right? But how come? He asked her, why are you going to shock me if I don't obey? I want to go home, I want to sleep, I want to play Minecraft, damn it. And when he said he wanted to go home to play Minecraft, right away the girl went crazy again, bringing the taser closer to his neck, influencing and saying, I'm going to shock you. Shut up, or I'll shock you. Shut up there or I'm going to shock you. And right away the guy got quiet, right? With a worried look saying, do you really think that's going to work against me? You can call the police if you want, but I'm going to report you under the Maria da Penha law and you're screwed, jerk. And for sure she was saying there that he's going to try to get out of there just by removing the taser from his neck. If he obeys, she won't do anything.
But look at the protagonist's face, right guys? Of course not. He's not going to try to escape. You can take the taser off my neck, I won't.
I'll escape. The taser is almost touching his house already. Of course, he'll say he's not going to escape, right? If you tell the guy to release everything, even everything gets released, right? The shock is almost hitting his face. And actually, the protagonist was thinking that he would use this taser on her to try to escape from the house. Look at this guy, man, saying he was going to try to escape from her if he got the taser. But still, she ended up revealing herself at the most wrong.
But he will just have to obey her because otherwise she will zap him or who knows what else she can do. The capability of this girl, my friend, you can't even trust. But okay. She changes the subject, asking if with the hand on your face they can start. But start with what? My girl, start with what? The
and she'd put her little finger in your face, just pointing like out of nowhere, like what does she want him to do? And man, she'd be looking to the side with her eyes closed, right? Looking to the side with your eyes closed is bad too, right?
As he watched her, and why do you have that hand on your face? I don't understand that.
He was lost, obviously, right?
She put her hand on her face and didn't say anything. What does she want him to do?
But dude, so guess what? Many viewers already understood what she wants him to do. Give me a good night kiss here on my cheek and that's it. And come on, if he doesn't want to get shocked, she orders him to do it now. Damn, right? I don't know if she's asking or ordering the guy to do it.
Obviously, she's telling she's telling him to do it. Just shut up and give the little kiss. He would get closer to her, but she's not that dumb, right guys? She was holding the taser almost on his neck and he told her to put the taser away first. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to give her a goodnight kiss on the cheek.
And she lowered the taser and he finally managed to do the first step of her friendship game. Give a little kiss on the friend's cheek and say pamintabam. And guys, from here on, I swear I wasn't understanding this fight anymore. I'm starting to get lost in this mess. The girl gets all excited, shouting that, oh,
now I'm happy he kissed my cheek. I can't tell if she is a psychopath or if she simply likes the guy to the point of being psychopath. Although it's the same thing, right? Anyway, the only thing the guy could think there, folks, is what was happening. Why is she doing this kind of thing with him, man? And besides, it was just a matter of saying, I like you, and maybe he would reject or accept her. But this way, it's easier, it's more guaranteed that he will stay with her, right? Because she threatened him.
But of course, it won't stop at just a little kiss, guys. She gets closer, saying, let's move on to heavier things. Enough of the light stuff, and I'll tell you, From now on, my friend, it's just downhill, right? Not even back. Yeah, going down the hill full speed and it says, and she even warns him that she'll do whatever she wants with him and he'll just obey, you know? Man, the mouth that hurts less.
Only that things would get cool, guys, from here. But as I said, they didn't get cool, right? Especially because just outside, guess who was simply there in Dia's apartment? That is
Yes, her other friend, whose name I don't even remember. Don't ask me because I don't remember them. What I know is that she got there already, ringing the doorbell at Dia's house, where obviously our buddy who was being tortured was.
By Dia inside. And he immediately got scared like, oh my god, oh, I'm screwed. They're going to kidnap me in here, help me. While he was wondering who was ringing the bell because none of them had gone to open the damn door yet, he asked Dia, who was at your house there? Because he doesn't know who frequently visits her place. But dude, look at Dia's face. Obviously, she doesn't know who went to her house. She was more worried than he was about the situation. And the brother doesn't know how he should worry because if someone sees this scene, they'll
they'll think he's the one using her, right guys? When in fact she's the one acting like a psychopath, keeping him in her house and tasing the guy in the neck. Who knows with these women nowadays, right?
That's what they say around here. The crazy ones are the best, but I want to leave the crazy ones for those who actually like them, right? I don't want any crazy ones. And then she got up to go to the door to see who it was. After all, if we don't know who it is, just go to the door to see, right? But the protagonist was saying, for heaven's sake, let me get out of here. I don't want to be lying here. And she was saying no.
She's not stupid, right? Also, for heaven's sake, obviously she's not gonna let him leave. And of course, you kinda do got the KD. Yeah, she cannot let anyone see our protagonist like that. And before that, she goes to your room to change clothes so she can see who was outside because, oh yeah, we'll know who it is. But even so, Dia already had an idea that it was obvious who was in her apartment. It was your other colleague who has nothing to do and has to be a nuisance. A friend is good for everything. And arriving there, she goes directly to the camera where she can see who was outside, right?
And that was Yona, your aunt Yona, little friend, colleague. She was already outside saying hi to your little friend, right?
Dia, who is a psychopath who only now discovered the prota that she is. All excited saying to Yona, look, I came here to entertain you a bit, brought food and sent a message. But no one answered. Poor thing, guys. She went there in all innocence, hoping someone would respond to her from the other side of the door, which in this case was Dia. But no one said anything for now. But Yona noticed that she knocked on the door and Yona herself was commenting that she's there. She's definitely there but doesn't want to say so.
Is there?
And Dia didn't respond at all and didn't even know what to say to Yona, right? And unconsciously she turned off the call button and couldn't respond anything. And that's why Yona realized there was someone there.
In short, Yona herself leans against her door saying, "Why, wow. Are you ignoring me? Ignoring me at home? I'm so sad my friend did this to me." Wow, what a friend, right? On the other hand, Dia only thought, Hari Kim, how could I send this girl back home when she's bothering me?
This boy here, oh, he's causing trouble. And I'm not lying, huh? He's really causing trouble. And there are two things she's starting to think about here, guys. The first is, if she opens the door, everything will be complicated. Nothing there will be nice. And another, if she ignores your colleague, it will make it even more difficult. In other words, if something goes wrong, it goes wrong. If not, it still does. But on the other side of the door, Yona was commenting that they can't stay like that. They need to continue with the next process. And Yona is already adjusting her arm, doing all the stretching there, seeming like she's about to punch the door of the morning, man. And guess what, my friend? Well, the damn girl didn't give me a punch the thing so hard it made a noise that even got Dia's attention. Like, man, this girl is crazy. Does she want to break my door, for crying out loud? And after that, she totally played sweet, saying something like, "It's so cold out here. Could you let me in, this princess?" Man, she kicked her friend's door, dude.
What's going on? I'm getting scared, huh? Who is crazier, this one or that one? But unfortunately, nothing happened. No one ended up responding to poor Yona, man. Why doesn't anyone want to talk to her, guys? She's just a childhood friend. And with that said, she stared more and more, saying, "You think I can't come in? Then
I'll have to force my way in, Sandina Tanda." And my friend, at that moment, simply, Dia wasn't going to do anything. But she heard some noises at the door. And guys, the moment Dia hears the noises at the door, she remembers that Yona knows the apartment's password. Her, man. And when she sees she knows your apartment password, of course she's going to enter, right, guys? If she knew it, then why the hell did she ask if she could come in, man? She could just do this and enter, though it would be kind of... For God's sake. And on the other hand, she was already trying the password and was about to enter. The door was almost opening. But dude, guess who was holding the door so no one would open it? Dude, Dia
was holding the door so Yona couldn't open it and pull. And Yona herself realized she was holding the door so she couldn't enter, man. Why is she doing that?
But soon Yona takes her hand off the doorknob, saying she can't avoid it. She really wanted to talk with your friend, but since she doesn't want to talk with her, there's no way, right, guys? So she goes and tells Yona, or rather Dia, to call her. And when Yona said she's leaving and said, "Well, I'm leaving," haha, poor Dia was astonished. It almost gave... Damn, man, she almost got arrested at Mario do Penho, right? Imagine if they demanded to know what she was doing in there. And at that moment, Dia went back to see our protagonist to see how he was
was doing, and then she said it was just for today, but the protagonist said that at least she could let him go so he could leave, right guys? And what do you think she answered?
Nothing. And he just thought, yes, I'm going to get out of here. I'll find a way to get out and report you, you shameless person. I highly doubt he's going to do that, folks, but anyway. But before that, she answered him that she's going to get the cell phone and take some interesting little pictures. Now the kid is in trouble. The protagonist's concern here, guys, was beyond, and he was asking how far she would go with this, but she replied that she would go as far as she was satisfied. Oh my god, this just gets worse, guys, just listen to what I'm saying. But then she would have to let him go, right? So soon she grabbed the scissors and released the protagonist, but warned him that after this photo she took, he would have to go to her house every time she told him to. Otherwise, you already know, right? Maria Dupenho arrested, jail anyway, si dice, yeah. Y'all got it. And my friend, after that, the main guy dashed out of her house, running at a speed you wouldn't believe. He bolted from there, the kid disappeared from her house, and Dia, meanwhile, I don't even know why I'm reading her speech bubbles, but anyway. In short, folks, she takes the photo she took with the protagonist, wanting to frame it and put it on her shelf to be visible. Man, I don't even know why the hell I'm still reading her speech bubbles, but anyway, and continuing with this process, guess what she did, right? Just to make us a bit happier, guys. She took the wrong picture, took the picture with the front camera facing her and not the back camera of the phone to take the picture of the protagonist. I don't know if this misery is stupid or just idiotic, right? But still, there's something about our protagonist that I need to tell you all. The protagonist doesn't know this, so if she keeps this secret, he'll think she has a picture of him. Anyway, right, the fool is trying to give
Punch on the fool, but our protagonist, dear heaven, would feel down thinking that she is a child who will only be satisfied by just using our
Protagonist, he can't take it anymore. He wanted to report her, but there's a risk that he could be reported and arrested, right? My god, all of this because he wanted to get back his belongings that she had stolen from him. Not to mention she even took a picture of him and wants to see him whenever she wants, which means it's a threat, but he doesn't know that she took the wrong picture and didn't take one of him. And when he simply leaves the part, then
her apartment, he hadn't even arrived at your house. Guess who was outside having a
beer? Yeah, Yona dude, but was sitting on the bench outside. And out of nowhere, when Yona looks to the side, he even feels better because he sees our protagonist leaving the apartment of the day.
What are you doing here, my friend? This boy sure is lucky, isn't he? Luckier than me. And when he sees her there, he kept wondering, wow, why hasn't Yona gone back to her house yet?
No, I understood this ending, and she asked why he was there. He didn't respond yet, but Yona asked if by any chance he wanted to drink a beer with her, and that she has a bit of beer there, and if he wants, she can give it to him. The matter of asking why he was there is already over, right?
Oh, it's over. But anyway, she ended up bringing up the subject again, asking what he was doing in front of Dia's apartment. What are you doing at Dia's apartment? He put his hand on his head thinking about how he could get out of this one now. How am I going to say I was just taking a nighttime walk in the
middle of the night? But even so, he was thinking there while she was just watching that if he drinks with her, it might be enough to explain the situation now. She will get drunk. She won't understand anything. But he told her he went there to do what? Yes, he has to make up a
drink with her. And when she hears that, she starts getting all emotional, crying, saying, God, that I'm touched. I can't believe they came to drink
with me, man. No one remembers me. You did? Oh, a flimsy excuse, huh? But she believed it, slapping her hand on the stool, saying, here, come, sit here with me. Let's
drink a little. Lucky you're a quality friend. I'm just scared, huh? What if this crazy person here is also a psychopath? You never know, right, guys? It starts like this. Sits next to me, goes to my house, and then you never leave. And when it's time to leave, she stays there. And with a beer in her hand, she told him to grab that beer over there. And man, he himself kept thinking, how did this work, dude? That's such a way.
Easy. Anyway, just follow the leak, and he starts opening the beer, feeling a bit more relaxed to take a sip there, right? Especially because the arm is good. While she was drinking, she said that she usually goes home to drink and not drink outside. But still, she said she wanted to solve that problem that came to our protagonist. In this case, about Dia having stolen a piece of his clothing. And remembering this, our protagonist felt all embarrassed because when he went to solve this problem, things went wrong for him, man. Talking about this, he is completely afraid of Dia now. But Yona was already almost entirely drunk, man, loudly saying that Dia even kicked her out of her house, that she went to her house and Dia simply told her to leave and she thought they were friends. Furthermore, she crushes the can in her hand, tossing it up to the protagonist who, as expected, you are the best friend of me. Dia si Dia.
Literally. And having said that, she started clinging to the protagonist, fiddling with her cell phone there, saying he was her best friend, and simply that he was the one who should stay by her side. But then he asked her, who are you calling? Why are you holding the cell phone and lying here? Are you calling your mom to come get you? And no, guess who she's calling? Man, she picked up the cell phone.
Literally calling Dia, man. When the protagonist sees her calling Dia, he suddenly gets up and says, hey, put that aside. Why are you calling her? Don't call her. He's scared, man. He doesn't want to see her anymore. He's leaving. That's the jerk's fault, right? Instead of going, although you fool. But it didn't help much, did it? Especially because, guess what? Dia answered the phone, and then Yona goes asking over the phone, oh Dia, you're my best friend, right? And Dia was going to say, yes, I am your best friend. And having said that, Yona would throw herself on the bench. Apples a day. Then why didn't you open your house door for me so I could be in your house? You didn't let me come in there. Wretched. So updating me based on the masente, what kind of friend doesn't let a friend into the house, man? And obviously our protagonist was just watching the conversation thinking that she's
lying, man. She just didn't let poor Yona in because she was using our protagonist. That's sad. Anyway, Yona kept lying on the protagonist's lap, saying that something happened for sure. That's why she didn't answer. And on the other hand, when Yona mentioned the protagonist's name and Dia heard he was there, oh my god, don't even...
I tell you, man, at that moment she'd blush and start asking why he is there. I don't know if she likes him, if she's crazy about
him. It's impossible to understand. If anyone knows what she feels for him, tell me, and the protagonist would turn all red.
Saying she didn't know what to say, and she found the answer because Yona pointed the cell phone at him saying, talk to her quickly, come on, talk to her. And then Yona noticed he was very quiet and asked what the protagonist was doing, right? But from this point, Yona kind of understood what had happened, especially since the protagonist couldn't speak to her on the cell phone because it must be a bit awkward for both of them due to Dia having grabbed a piece of clothing.
That's the conclusion Yona comes to. I won't even tell you the worst part. But it's okay.
Having said that, Yona quickly hangs up on Dia. For me, Utado dating it was abruptly because she didn't say anything. And after that, Yona stood up, the protagonist turned to one side, Yona was on the other without saying anything. And man, she quickly tilted her face slightly to the side, looking at our protagonist saying, yeah, Dia said she left today. You know who has to resolve the problem between you and her, right? Yes.
Yes, Yona herself says that the problem is not solved just because it is yours. It is only solved if you resolve it. And I completely agree with that, huh? But Proto would turn his head to the side without looking at Yona's face, saying
that you'll give himself the luxury of not solving the problem with her, especially because they cannot worry about this kind of conversation anymore. But
Yona asked if they had already talked about the matter. But hey, calm down. This is the kind of thing that made Proto more frustrated because what just happened to him wasn't a normal thing and he couldn't even report the girl. But he told her to stop continuing with this subject, and Yona said that it can't be resolved if we don't talk to her, and that's why Yona is there. She's a friend who will help. But my friend Proto only thought that
being a friend to someone and not knowing their problem does not solve any problem.
And another thing, Dia is a psychopath, right? Who knows what she will do to him too.
And my friend Yona was so drunk that she leaned on Proto, drink in hand. She wanted a drink a little here. The drink takes away your worries. You can drink, get drunk. It will take away your worries. And even so, Proto drank one more, drank another, you know.
Those who drink today don't know what happens now. That said, dude, the next day had already dawned, obviously, because it was the freaking next day. And dude, guess what? At the same time, Proto was nervous, fiddling with the cell phone because, man, Yona decided to set him up on a date with Dia, man. And you know that Dia, she has her personal fetishes, right? But it was only getting worse. He kept thinking if he should run away
before Dia got there. But hold on, she had just arrived, right? And when she arrived, she sneaked in quietly, put the cell phone right on his back, guys. The kid froze up from the memory, my friend, right?
She will ask if she scared him. All cutesy. You can't get scared like that, no way. But look, that kid wasn't that darn kid. He says he's leaving. Bye, he is. He is!
Although she seems like a psychopath, he even thinks she's cute, right, guys? This is turning into quite a mess. The guy doesn't know if he should stay, if he should leave, if she treats him badly, if she doesn't. But anyway, right?
What matters are the important moments. And she goes and asks if by chance he isn't excited, right? Especially since she said it's the first time they're going out together, even though they've been friends for a long time, right? And after finding out she's a psychopath anyway. But dude, she grabs his arm, looks him in the face and says, hey, you're going out with me, aren't you? If not, you'll go back to my house and I'll lock you inside, you idiot. Wow, just thinking about it, right?
At that moment, Proto gets scared, my friend, because the other time,
He was used, but it was good. It was good. It was good. But then she gives him a look and says that thinking about it now, he seems a bit rushed, doesn't he? And she asks him if he is really in such a hurry to go to his house. If so, he can go to her house, guys. But she goes and threatens. Dude, she arrived all sweet, but then acted crazy, saying that if he is so eager to go to house, she doesn't recommend him going home, especially because y'all know she has pictures of him on her cell phone, right? Of course, she took a picture of him, but as you remember, this fool here took the picture with the phone's front camera, so the picture got her, not him. But as I said, if he doesn't know, it still counts, right?
Damn it, my friend. And with that said, she already started pulling his arm saying, let's go. Yet he's thinking he can't believe she's going to do this to him, guys. Dumb guys, if he only knew that she at least took the wrong picture, right? But they got there inside the cinema, which obviously was to watch the movie.
Oh, I think it was to watch a movie.
Yeah, Teishe, he sat in a seat and the other one was closed, but of course she would sit next to him, right? And he is sure they will watch a movie he won't like.
And that it probably must be a couple's movie, right? Because that's what she thinks they are. She's crazy anyway, yeah.
It doesn't really get into context. And all he can think, guys, is that he is being threatened and doesn't know how to enjoy the situation. Enjoy it, buddy, because you'll never have this in your life. But okay, she looked at him with a sweet face, asking what he thinks about it. But look about what, my girl? Tell me again because I don't understand. And she says that the movie she chose is his favorite suspense movie.
It's also her favorite row of seats or something like that, which she chose. And dude, look at this, man. Do you have any idea what she's talking about here?
She's saying that everything she's done so far is her favorite part, favorite seat, favorite movie. It's like he has to like what she likes. I don't really know if this makes sense or not, but he thinks it's good, it's nice. Answer wrong and see if you don't get hit. She seems like a good friend, right? Yeah, sure, trust it.
Listen, and having said that, the lights started to dim, right, for the movie to begin, and he was wondering what idea Dia had in her mind, you know, folks, because it's hard to understand her thoughts and what she's thinking now.
And it's not even good to try to understand, but since she brought him there, right, or took him there to a dark room to do something as if they weren't going to watch a movie, maybe that's not it. Maybe it's just to watch the movie, right? He starts to get lost in his thoughts, but when the lights went out, she became a bit more serious.
I don't quite know what she was thinking, but was she happy? How come, folks? She thought she was all happy because she gonna have a date with our protagonist, folks.
Even though he is a bit forced, right? The problem is that this only happens.
Give thanks to Yona, right, folks? If she keeps doing what this darn person is doing, calling Dia for them to meet to stop their miserable fight, even when she herself doesn't know what happened, it might help. And maybe suppose he should treat her to a meal later to see if they can communicate and end that fight that may be happening. Because it wasn't a fight about his underwear, like she had stolen it because she wanted him to go to her house, right? But dude, what's up with that? When he looks at her face, he already knows what's going to happen after they leave the cinema, but he doesn't want to imagine that happening, and she must be imagining doing strange things with him after it ends.
The movie. And instead of being influenced by her, guys, should he leave now? What should he do? And then he thought and got her attention by saying, Dia, you're not trying to do something weird with me, are you? She asked, yo, what do you mean doing something weird? And suddenly she looked a bit taken aback, right? And he thought, no?
Don't tell me she's planning to do this here in the cinema, guys. And she started moving her fingers there, thinking, should I tell him that I'm going to grab him and tie him up in the corner of the wall and make him go without his underwear in the middle of the cinema? And well, she said with her hand on his chest, well, it's not what you're thinking, you know? It's just a thing I like to do often. And no man, if it's that he says he refuses, guys, he's not going to do it at all.
No, Joe, but look at this trick. The guy reconsiders and says, oh, then if that's the case, I'll do whatever you want. Well, but she says, hey, what do you mean you'll do whatever I want? Out of nowhere, the guy said no.
Wanted to do. And he told her to lift up. But what do you mean lift up, miserable? Speak clearly because I'm not understanding. But what he really meant by that, guys, is that they should end this right now. He didn't want to be embarrassed in front of other people, right? And she kept wondering, did he stop being an idiot and start obeying me? Wait, dude, what is this? Then she catches me off guard. She lifts her clothing at the same moment.
Dudes, what is that damned woman doing in the middle of everyone, man? So she asked if by any chance they can do this
this kind of thing inside the cinema, right? Haha, my friend, of course not, right? What if the flashlight guy shows up and starts? Although I think this guy might want to watch too, right? Who knows what spell he...
There's also that, and quite embarrassed, she asked if it was good like that already. Should she keep holding there, or is he going to decide to do something? He began to think he'd have to do something wild in the cinema whether he wanted to or not. In other words, he's being forced to do things we don't want to do. But
I want to see, right? I mean, Verjeon doesn't want to see this. No way. Yeah, Verjeon is very macho. He's Sigma. And it doesn't matter what he does it? Because everything will have to happen one way or another. And he tells her, hey, Dia, take it out now. And she asks, what do you mean, take it out? Of course, she's a bit crazy, but the impulse he's making here is so strange that she doesn't understand, but she goes and takes out the last part that's missing, right, guys? And what is the last part that's missing? Han. I'll tell you in the link in...
Low. Just click there and I'll tell you. Our Silver only thought that all this was to make sure she wouldn't pay more than
psychopath with him later. Because let's think from our certain point of view. What would she do with him later if he didn't jump to...
So ahead, I can say it's not a bad thing, but anyway, right? Everyone thinks what they think, right, guys? And my friend, I won't even tell you what misery happened from here on. The protagonist looked at her embarrassed, thinking that there was no way. Even though there was no one in the theater, it was embarrassing, guys. What is this, man? But her, she obviously didn't care about what was going to happen. What if the flashlight guy showed up? He would start watching too, right? And of course, she says, let's go all the way to the end of this, my friend. What is my friend taste and but just to mess things up a bit, guess who shows up in front of them? I don't know either. I just know it's an extra passing by. Dude, saying, excuse me, I'm passing through. And the guy squeezes past between the two and sees the way Dia was. But he doesn't mind much, especially since it was dark. Maybe he didn't even see what was going on there. But he said, excuse me, I'm passing through. After that, Dia was even startled, thinking he probably didn't see. Yeah, surely he saw nothing. Haha, just Verjeon saw, bro. And thinking about it, he started to think that the vibe in there was really good. Also because they're in a public place, guys. But since Dia wants to do this, it's clear that he's not doing it because he doesn't want to. No, it's because she's telling him to do it. He wasn't the one who started all this, man. I won't say anything else, but he says he doesn't want to be cheeky, right? Guys, and says that if they get caught in there, the matter will make the newspaper, and even comments to her that she probably doesn't want that, right, guys? And says they shouldn't be doing that kind of thing in there either, because what if, right? But dude, do you really think she cares about that? What do you think she says to him? Let's go do it. Shut up, I'm telling you to do it, jerk. And she says it all serious in quotes, right? Saying that we don't have time anymore and let's go now, bastard. Go, because I'm telling you, miserable. He thinks like this, looks to the side, sees there are people on the other side of the big screen, guys. You're crazy. The chance of it going a crap here of 999 at 0.7%. What does that mean? That there'll be crap. And the movie had just begun, right? The little movie started there, which I don't even know what movie this is, but there's a rabbit in the darn film anyway. Take the film off the stage here. What matters is that suddenly the protagonist says he's going to the bathroom. Gia says, okay, you can go to the bathroom. And the movie kept talking about this box. I don't know what, but I already said take the movie out of this because I'm not going to narrate the movie for you all. What we know is that Gia started to feel stuck there, especially because she was sitting, right? Why isn't he coming back already? He should at least send a message, but man, the guy just left the damn area to go to the bathroom, and she's already asking where he is. This woman is more possessive than anything, right? And she looked to the side to see where her cell phone was, and man, I can't believe the main character did that, guys. She hunted for her cell phone and started searching through it. Got up from the chair and found nothing. And when she thought about what could have happened, she went into an existential crisis because the protagonist, she took her phone, guys. Now I trust this guy, huh? Although you already know what happened. The protagonist doesn't know she took the wrong picture anyway when he finds out she took the wrong picture, my friend, right? But taking that a bit out of context, now we go to the bathroom and the protagonist was sitting on the toilet, right? Very thoughtful and tired because
he stays with the cell phone in hand thinking that I did it.
It's true, folks, we really did it. And all this only happened after that physical contact they had when he took the initiative because it was a plan in his head. In short, the guy might already be a card-carrying fighter, right? The dude is quick with his fingers.
There he is. And thinking about it, he starts trying to guess her password. Maybe her password. Guess what her password is? It must be something related to him and probably taken some time ago, and the photo must be in the gallery. But guys, when he grabs it, he tries to get into the phone. Dude, the photo she took of him and he looks, there's none. suspicious photo in there. Most of the photos, as I said, are taken with the front camera that she took of herself, man.
Dude, when she saw she took a picture of herself, she freaked out. But since the main character didn't know, he was like, whatever, right? And man, now that he looked directly and saw there was no picture, he said, oh, so she was lying. I don't know who's dumber here, guys, for the love of God. But the door, over at the cinema, the movie was playing, guys.
He didn't even know what was about to happen, and neither did I, right? Because I don't know what's happening here. He was just wondering if she sent the photo to another storage location, because
he even considered that maybe she hid the photo so he wouldn't steal her phone, thinking she had thought of everything. But no, my friend, actually she hadn't thought of everything. She was dumb enough to even take the photo wrong. But since he didn't know anything, he was trying, thinking he needed to look a bit more to find the photo and delete it. That way, he couldn't be used by her anymore, right?
And he checked the diary to see if the photo was really there. But hold on, this was just beginning, because inside the bathroom, folks, our Gia was no longer at the cinema.
Yeah, without shouting his name. And when he heard his name being shouted, guys, he felt trapped, thinking he was done for. She was already in front of the bathroom door, right?
Telling him to open the door now. My friend, with arms crossed, or at least trying to cross them, she says she'll break down the door if he doesn't open it. Damn, she really went crazy, huh? She's tough. With the cell phone in hand, he thought that if her phone disappeared out of nowhere in that situation, it was obvious she would suspect him, right?
Yeah, and that maybe it's just a matter of time until he is caught in this case, right? With the cell phone in hand.
But what is he gonna do, guys? In Crisis, he was responding to her saying that it seems there's no one in the men's bathroom, and why don't they go outside to talk a little? Dude, look at this guy changing the subject. But she wasn't having it, huh? She simply started counting. Either you open the damn door or I'll break it down.
Now she starts 1, 2, 3. Saya, you won't believe it. She's really going crazy and is going to break down the door, man. The door was almost open on 3, and he looked up and saw the shadow of who? From her, indeed, big guy. But she asked if he really had done that, right? Especially because after opening the door, she took the cell phone in her hand and saying that, man, I can't believe it. You stole my cell phone, jerk.
And even with the cell phone in hand, she was saying that today I'm warning you, huh? If you take my cell phone again, you're going to get a bullet in the head, bastard. And another thing, she said that taking her cell phone won't do any good, right? Of course it won't help because she didn't take the damn photo and the guy doesn't know that.
But it's the scriptwriter put it here. We have to accept it.
And it's the end for him. She even says there that it will happen to him. So it means he's going to keep acting without questioning your orders. He thinks she's not in her right mind, but the problem was just beginning because he looked for the photo and didn't find it, and that she must have planned all this, man. And what does he do now? She was staring him down there, and even if he tries many times,
change the subject. She won't change the subject. She's angry with him. Will she expose him with the photo? Will she hit him? Will she lock him up? Will he be arrested in Marido Penho? I don't know either, right? This is worse than a Mexican soap opera. I'm not understanding anything here. But he, Mrs. Neda, folks, thinks about the best thing he could think of.
Since she's a psychopath crazy about him, he starts taking off his jacket. She's like,
Why are you taking off your coat there? And my friend, the guy is going to take off his shirt right after. Wow, what ups even? I mean, love it. No way, you're crazy. Get out. And taking off his shirt, she says he's right. And how is he right? Why did you take off this shirt, damn it? And he says he did something wrong and that she needs to boss him around. And he goes right up to her saying that they have to continue what was happening before.
And man, he thinks this is the only way, and I'll tell you guys really, huh? I started drawing some conclusions here. The best plan was to do that. Yeah, the Virgin is thinking about dreaming things, of course, and pulling her by the hand. He said that last time, guys. He ran away, but she says, calm down, that he's and she was all frozen, but he said that this time, dude, he's not going to run away. She, who in turn was embarrassed, didn't know what to say. And obviously after that, like a true psychopath, she said, yes guys, start doing what I tell you to do now.
Then, right away, he went into action, right? He pulled her shirt saying, let's do this damn thing now. Let's do this mess now. Shut up and just take it off. And she did nothing, because was that what she wanted? I don't know either. And she goes on to say that even if they had thought about it before, he has to obey her. No point in changing the subject, but the one who changed the subject here was her damn.
But she was talking about him having stolen her phone, but he kept pulling her hand saying that they could still go into action. And bam, he pulls her hand up and she doesn't understand anything. anything. It was such a quick action that I'll tell you, I didn't notice it. I know that after this incident, he put the pacifier in her mouth and said, "Oh, I'm in love, guys." Clearly, after that, she must...
You're angry, right? But since she's a crazy psychopath who's not very stable, the best thing to do is what?
Yes, go after her. I'll tell you that this guy here is not dumb, but he's not smart either, huh? What? I didn't get it. But well, wait a minute. Before moving on to the main act, which is the most important, guys, he starts to remember about Dia's diary and what it said in her diary. He remembers that he even looked for her photo there, the one she took of him, but he didn't find it. And he saw her diary and what was written inside, and he picked up the phone and started to think about what she could be writing in that diary, and he needed to read it, right? After all, even though she is a psychopath, dude, and my friend, right, when he started reading what was written in the diary, guys, she talked about vulgar things, which I'm not even going to say what they are.
In summary, she's out of her mind, right?
But he thought about various things, and she started saying in her diary that she took a picture, but she didn't change the camera. Damn, what a girl. She wrote in her own diary that she did not take the right picture of the protagonist, which means he now knows that she didn't even take his picture. And after all, guys, he couldn't handle this whole situation anymore, and despite everything, she didn't do what she said she had done. And guess what? He picked up the cell phone and telephone and saw what day that diary was from, and it was the 20th. And it was the day she had written about him and had also trapped him in her house, man. And all of this matched, made sense in a way. But what he read the most in that diary, guys, was the important part, which she wrote every single day. "I miss our protagonist. What is he doing today? I'm sorry for not being able to pretend that I don't like you." It's like a craziness that she wrote in her own diary, but he noticed that she couldn't pretend to be cold and that our protagonist is a good person, and she thought he was a good person with her too. And thinking about it, he remembered her, right? That she is beautiful, arrogant, manipulative, but still very beautiful, man. I would marry the trend, man. Even though she's crazy, right? I don't know. I don't really know what I would choose here. I've already told you, at times like this, you turn off your brain and start acting on your own, man. Forget about the rest. But still, what he couldn't stop thinking about is why she was doing all this. Even though she was crazy, wouldn't it be easier to say I like everything than to write and start manipulating the guy through pictures and saying she's going to get him arrested with a Maria da Pena accusation, and that one day she intends to do something with him? I won't even tell you, right? Adult stuff, man, stop that. You don't need to think about it. It will finish there. And no matter what, he has to think about what to do with her from now on. But then, just to mess things up a little, there had to be the hustle of an extra in the middle. Some extras arrived inside the bathroom, guys. And if you remember well, that's a men's bathroom, and Dia was in there, right? With the sound of footsteps there. Man, the guy himself was scared because imagine if they were discovered, right? But the guy was going to the bathroom calmly, went there, washing his hands, grabbing his little chair, doing his number 2, having a good poop. But there were people inside, and he was hearing that there were people inside there. Was that a problem? Yeah. If nobody hears anything, well, it's not a problem at all, right? Prota was more worried if he got caught by those crazy guys there. Although, for me, it's kind of like, right, the worst that could happen is what? He gets kicked out? Anyway, right. But man, this girl is really kind of crazy. After she doesn't speak, here's the prota taking too long. And guess what? She grabs the darn phone that was on the floor, guys, and says, "If you don't do this crap now, I'm going to report you with the photo I took." Oh, I don't believe this, man. He himself knows she didn't even take the picture, but look. Fucking miserable girl, man. And this was the kind of thing that started consuming your mind, because if she's serious, it means it's serious. So if it's serious, it means it's serious. And on the other side, the guys who were in the bathroom, they were just chilling. They suspected something suspicious was happening in there. Suspicious? Haha. Imagine if they hear them inside, right, guys? What is the worst that could happen in this whole situation? Nothing, right? What he thinks is that above all, he needs to do what is necessary, because otherwise Dia will send the message with the cell phone. And man, this guy is already showing off. If he knows she doesn't have his photo, he's doing it not because he wants to obey her, but because he wants to. But that's how it is, right, guys? Let's just listen to what he's thinking. That's it. And did someone hear both of them in there? No, definitely not. Just guess what happened. At the time, a damn guard came over, guys, and started knocking on the door. Knock, 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 saying, "Excuse me, can you hurry? We need to clean the bathroom, and could you please stop what you're doing and leave the bathroom?" Yeah, the guards obviously already knew what they were doing there. This guy with the cap said if they don't leave, guys, he will call the police. Then, go to your home, wretched band. Right away, man. The prota wilted, our Dia got scared. I had never seen fear on her face, but for the first time something bad.
It happened. Bad? Haha. Our prota started to have an existential crisis because he was so caught up in that interesting, really awesome moment, guys, that he didn't even notice other people were coming into the bathroom, but of course they needed to leave and the guard was saying, look, if you don't come out, I'm going to call the police. And he was grabbing your clothes, right? And thinking, let's get out of here, man. Otherwise...
The situation is ugly here. Dia simply didn't say anything. Seeing all that situation, of course, she was embarrassed. But the protagonist himself started to think that he was embarrassed, guys. Who wouldn't be embarrassed, right? Just imagine what would happen. But the guard is saying, hey, get out of there because otherwise we'll call the police. And he started to leave, saying out loud that it's not a good idea. So just close your eyes and run until the door. I didn't understand why he was doing that, but he was saying he was going to count so he could run, right? Clearly all this was staged. Dia looked at him and thought, hey, got it? And then Dia acted crazy and counted 1, 2, 3, go. She ran off at lightning speed and both of them ran. The protagonist was already outside thinking that it was a close call. Apparently they weren't caught by the mall manager. The mall probably started being a bit more cautious after this, right? They're even going to put cameras in the bathroom. Now, imagine. And after going through all of this with her, he said they won't do that in public again, huh? For God's sake, huh, Dia? Imagine if something goes wrong. Something already did go wrong. That's because when he looks to the side, where is Dia, folks? She was supposed to be beside...
His man. The girl wasn't even there. But then she showed up and pulled his hand and he thought, how did you manage to slip away from there? I didn't see you by my side. But she was just pulling his arm while he was thinking that if they got caught,
boy, the employee was going to report both to the point where they would end up in jail. I think not. That would be the least of all problems, right? But she was sad because the movie ended. She wanted to watch the movie too. But she was talking to him on the other side of the wall because she wanted to hear his reaction about the whole situation, right? Saying that they suddenly left in the middle of everything and that they should rest a little after what happened. And what happened? I will pretend that I don't know. But look at what happened. She thought she had pulled him by the arm. And man, when she sees, who did she pull by the arm? It was some random guy who was probably the mall guard who was hitting the bathroom door telling them to get out of there. And it wasn't the protagonist. Is this girl so slow to the point of grabbing the guard thinking it was the prota? When she realized it was the shopping mall guard, she said, my god, damn ADHD. Then the guard looked at her saying, friend, that is a public place. I don't know if you acted like a crazy ADHD here, but stop doing this in inappropriate places. She said that I feel a lot. I'm not doing it anymore, but he just thought, what the heck was happening? And after that, she took off and left. And dude, guess, only the mall security guard himself started thinking about something that made no sense, guys. The guy started imagining that maybe the protagonist himself dragged Dia into all of this and that he is using her. Dude, if he finds out that Dia is the psychopath in the relationship, my friend, right? Not to mention that he also says, looking from afar, she's beautiful. Ooh, Maria, I'm thinking the guy is considering something else. He even considers that he is a model, you know, because of her style. And he's going to let it slide just because she's beautiful, but he was jealous of her boyfriend, our protagonist in this case, and I'm not even going to tell you half of what happens in this guy's life, man, although he's winning, okay? And he was looking from behind there, thinking that she simply lies and let all this happen. What happened up to now, right? It's that he thought she was going to the police to report, and then she grabs the phone in her hand, wondering where the protagonist was, because she thought the security guard at the mall was the protagonist, and she ran with her eyes closed and ended up grabbing someone else who wasn't.
wow, stop. I don't know how she managed that in there with her eyes closed, right? Congratulations, dumb girl.
Yeah. And does he care about her? That is the first thing she thinks. But it's her way of imagining, and that she is a little worried about him too. And he, on the other hand, who was there in his corner, paralyzed without thinking about anything. Just imagining what would happen after she got out of there. The phone was in his pocket and started ringing, and he said it was for her to text him, but then he got this message, and then it was her asking where he was, and she asked twice, my friend, right? Oh, the fear. And if he tells her where he is, she'll go there to find him, you know? And he thought, should I say that I'm here just standing, or should I run to keep her from catching me? Yay, my friend, right? The boy's fear was sky high. But guys, here's the famous question. Do I stay or do I not? His fear of being reported is big, but that does not fit the context anymore, because the guy already knows she does not have a picture of him, but still, it's something that gets into your head, because up until now, what she has done with him was just use him, right, guys? Emotionally, of course, right? And he feels like he's starting to squeeze himself in.
His way of speaking, which I didn't understand either. What he only imagined was that she could at least let him return to his house, right? Without her bothering him as well, you know? And he feels very much, but he needs to leave. And having said that, she who was paralyzed until then, she received a message from him, right? Saying there that his condition suddenly worsened. So he's going back to your house and apologizes to him until next time. Dude, think of a girl who got angry. It's as if he had said, I'm going to grab you and we'll like stick it again if you don't stay quiet. Nice base of take. Keep versus crazy obvious. That's what she understood. Does it make sense? No, but that's what she understood. What she thought was that they should go somewhere else so she could leave him a bit happier. Imagine this, and the place where they are going, yes, it's a bathhouse, and there are many ways for her to manage to force our protagonist to start liking her, and it's very strange to talk about this too, to him, obviously, right? But still, her way will make him accept it. Yes, just saying be quiet and he agrees. Speaking about this too, she starts to think that today she had the first strange experience with our protagonist inside the mall, where one shouldn't do that, and should she stop being greedy, guys? Maybe she should actually let it go and not try to make him feel good too. So thinking quickly, she responds to him saying that she is going to her house, going to sleep, going to stay till, and when he receives this message from her, he asks, yeah, what? How so? Did she really say I can go back home and don't need to follow her? He obviously imagined she would say, come here bastard and do as I say. But she didn't. She easily let him go back to his house. And so as she allowed, we took the bus to go home. Since we're broke, we take public transportation. And he was inside thinking that today's content was really intense, right? I won't say any more, but but still, what improved the most from here was her diary that he managed to read and what was written in it. In a way, it was a strange diary with certain things she wrote in there too, which I won't even say what she put there, right? But still, the coolest thing about all this is that she really cared about him in a suspicious but interesting way. Up to a point, it makes sense. And Satani's scene, and the Tua said he also remembers that when he first met her, she was so beautiful that he wanted to get closer to her because of how she looked. And they even tried to start a conversation, but she would just say, no, sit somewhere else, and things like that. And despite that, even though she showed she was petty and didn't want to stay near him, she was trying all the time to get closer, which didn't make much sense. She had her own special way of trying to stay by his side, and strangely, he thinks that this time things are going better. But dude, shut up there. At the beginning of everything, this guy was afraid of her. Now apparently, is he starting to like her? Guys, I'm telling you, man. When Jubilee speaks, no one can maintain consent. But Dia, she doesn't know that he checked her cell phone. He didn't even manage to read her diary. She's just imagining that he stole her cell phone and couldn't even access anything. And yes, of course he knows how Dia feels. And then getting up, guys, he thinks they should meet a few more times, my friends. Although I think this isn't going to work out, right? But okay. And pressing the stop button for the bus to stop where he's going to stay, he thinks that if this really happens, maybe he can change her bizarre way of being. I don't know. I think not actually is a lie. Soon he's arriving at your house, right? Inside your apartment, thinking he would be able to go to your house right after that. I don't know, maybe around sunset, but despite everything, she let him go back to his house without even any kind of threat, which is quite interesting. Entering inside, he goes, closes the door, takes off his shoes, placing them to the side, trying to settle in. But in the midst of that, man, the kid was going to have sex. His heart beats because he hears a sound in his bathroom. Do you realize that now he is inside your house, man, and he heard someone in your bathroom? The first thought we have is a thief, right? Then he says, well, I'll get
little object here. I'll whack this bum over the head to get him out of my house. And then he thinks, when did she get into my house? I mean, when did this guy get into my house? Jay had the card on the table saying it's her, right? Congrats to me. And then he started slowly opening the bathroom door. What's this, man? Is it possible that the guy who wants to rob my house is taking a shower in my bathroom? I know, but then, is this guy going crazy? And guys, what the heck is this here? He enters the bathroom and sees Yona taking a bath in his bathroom, man. His other friend who is not a psychopath. And at the same time, since he didn't know, right, he went there and quickly pulled Yona by the arm.
That's because he thought it was the thief.
And when he looked at her face, my friend, just imagine a guy who got scared. She did too, of course, right? And he was asking why she was there. But that wasn't even the worst part, because at that exact moment when he pulled her, the bathroom floor was slippery. And how did she fall? Famous scene of the protagonist falling on her, or her falling on him, I don't know. In short, both were already on the floor and she asked what he was doing there, but that is his house. Hail Mary, what things, what friends this guy has. And in those thoughtful thoughts of thinking thoughts, what was he thinking? That he was thinking. But putting aside the thinking thought of thinking thoughts, he just imagined, why the hell was she in my house and taking a shower? Damn. But she was even more embarrassed, right? And my friend, at that moment, he was thinking he didn't know where to look because she was taking her shower. In his memory, she was yelling at him, asking, what the hell are you doing here, you bastard? What do you mean? What am I doing here? This is my house, man. And my friend, right, she went and kicked him in the back saying, Ghetto, get out of here, you bum, or I'm going to report you to the police and say you're shameless. And damn, how stubborn, the girl couldn't get me out of the bathroom, man. And he thought, what the heck just happened here, even though it's your house?
He found himself sitting on the floor and didn't even know what to think anymore because his life was already in such complete chaos that it was becoming normal for him.
Sometimes, guys, we reflect on the virgin. Life shows us things we don't understand, and that's why I'm saying this now, because I don't get it either. I didn't understand it as well.
But even so, he yelled at her, asking why the hell she was in his house, right? And that he couldn't have even a little peace, man. Why doesn't she take a shower in her own damn house? And she, on the other hand, was just wondering why he suddenly barged into the bathroom.
Hey, she's the one who's more at fault here, but she just thought the whole situation was strange. Stranger than that was after everything happened. She went, took her shower, changed her clothes, and left the bathroom, right? And there, she looked to one side, he looked to the other side. They were embarrassed with the situation that wasn't very good, right? It was awkward. But having said that, they had to talk about this, especially because we need to clarify why the hell she was at his house and how she managed to get in. And soon he started approaching her, trying to get her attention, but he didn't want to know about that because he wanted her to leave his house, man. And soon he started pushing her, saying, get out of here, you wretch. And she was asking, why are you pushing me like this all of a sudden? But he says he can't look directly into her eyes. It's because the situation got so ugly that he can't.
And another thing, while pushing her, he said, screw it, just get out of my house. I don't want to hear any explanation. But she said, I can explain, I can clarify the misunderstanding. What do you mean clarify the damn misunderstanding that she was in his house without permission, damn it? Bossy dob, that's... He can't even look her in the face properly. And she said, why? Why won't you let me explain? And also she asked why he came home so early, man. What do you mean? Why is she asking that? He can go back to his house whenever he wants.
And she started yelling at him even more, saying, then shut up. We have to resolve this here. We can't fight. Let's solve it. All this doesn't need to end like this. He didn't quite understand the situation. With her leaning on his shoulder, he started wondering what she was talking about. Is she going to go crazy just like Gia and claim she started keeping his stuff at home and acted like a psychopath?
No, guys, since then he took his hands off her shoulders, and soon she was asking the protagonist if by any chance Gia hadn't told him that she wanted to solve the protagonist's problem together with him and that they probably should deal with this problem. Guys, this problem has already been solved, my mates, but it's okay, she doesn't need to know it's been resolved. What he needs to know is why she was there and she didn't even get to explain.
And that he will go crazy if this continues this way, right? And that probably, as she herself said, all this was planned, right? But anyway, and well, he starts talking to her. Let's say, suppose guys, that she broke into his house because she wanted to take a shower in your bathroom. Okay, but as far as I know, you have a house and you have a bathroom. And well, she was sitting down there trying to say that...
How about we talk about Gia's story? Man, she tried to change the subject.
Subject talking that they should discuss Dia, not about her. And that she even made a promise that she would manage to make our protagonist go out with her to solve the problem they both were in. In the case of the girl having stolen the beards from there, oh my god, long story, oh my goodness, just to think. But as always, he was thinking about it. She's doing the same thing that Dia did to him, man. Changed the subject, did something strange, and then acted like a psychopath and grabbed the taser and stuck it on the guy's neck. Oh,
It is psychopathic. But well, when asked about her house, she said nothing. He just thought all this is suspicious. That guys,
and make that suspicious. Like, he was already in a strange situation up to now, but now it got even worse. As he had nothing to say to her except to ask about this, he stepped away from her saying, I have nothing to say to you, so just get out of my house and you can leave since there's no way to solve the situation. In the middle of that, he wanted to open your door, but at the same time, guys, she put her hand on your door. And guys, he froze, especially because the guy was afraid she would pretend to be a psychopath too. Tie him up and leave him in his own house. The worst part I'm going to tell you is that the chance of this happening is 99.9%. But she said she will enter first. But where are you going to enter, man? Where are you going, misery? You're in my house.
Disgrace! Okay. And he would ask, why are you acting so strange? Why are you hiding here at home? Are you hiding something from me? Tell me. But every time he asked about the situation, she would go quiet, freeze up, and wouldn't answer the guy, saying, I have nothing to hide from you. No, definitely not. I'll tell you, Vijay is also going crazy with this damn work. I can't stand it.
But no. And wow, man, she thought she had already been caught in his bathroom later, that this is happening now. Of course, she should apologize to him, but he did not want to do that, man. In short, she began to think about what happened. She got to his house, went to your room, took advantage of him not being home, laid in your bed thinking everything's fine, nobody's home, and all.
See, but the question still remains, how did she get in? But she got in there thinking. She started to say that I helped them to if they understand each other and now they're going to start having a better relationship, I don't know what, and that they will return in about 3 hours. And about that, she started looking around.
How nice. Since she was bored, guys, she wanted to do something to feel more relieved. Yeah, my friend, right? Guess what she thought she could do to relieve herself? She looked at the protagonist's gaming PC and no, you don't mess with my gaming PC, man. What was doing that, guys? Take your hands off, you wretch. Since she had never played on a gaming PC before, she started it already turning on the guy's PC and began messing with it. Oh, my friend, if he saw this, he would smash her head against the wall, my buddy. You don't do that to me, you scoundrel. But man, she started messing with the PC, and I don't know why, but she went into your file folder. And for those who know, a file folder contains files. Oh, really? And what she found in there were some of the protagonist's files, kind of suspicious, if you know what I mean. And she started to think that probably he must be the type of shameless guy, right, folks? But in reality, I'll provide some context. Shameless is she who went and messed with where she shouldn't. Okay, we're going to take this out of context, right? And since she needed to check tests to see what was happening inside his PC, guys, she went there, locked his door, and said, let's take a look at this content of his here to see what was in there. The girl was already all blushed at that because she already knew what was inside that folder on his computer. You never guys mess with a man's computer because what's in there is just weird stuff. I mean, not in mine. Mine is just videos from the channel.
O sea, Praying tells me, and as she thought something strange wasn't wrong there, or something wrong wasn't strange, something right was wrong. Anyway, all I know is that after that, my friend,
I won't even tell you, life's only going downhill from here, that's crazy. And she took advantage of what was there to do something to break the monotony, right guys? She's not bored anymore. So, we'll start explaining why she went to his house.
And how she ended up in your bathroom. After being less bored, she said, I'm sweaty, I'm going to take a shower, yo. Normal for a person, right? The strange thing is that she wasn't at your house, so she took advantage to shower at his place because they are friends and have intimacy. So she went there and would later return to the PC. And man, to give you an idea, she left the PC on, and in the folder she had looked at from the protagonist.
And after remembering that, guys, the only thing she thinks is that I absolutely cannot let him see what I saw on his computer, man. It's like that scene where you're all relaxed, right? Then the guy arrives and says, what are you doing there? Just kidding.
The scene is strange, and he could only think that she's acting like this because she has a mental issue, because the whole situation wasn't explained to our protagonist, only to us mere mortals who know what she was doing in there, right? But he didn't care at all. Since he was stronger than her, he put his hand on the doorknob, opened it with
strength and all. She was thrown to the side, almost fell to the ground, and obviously he's not going to let her stop him. He's in his own house and does whatever he wants. And when he arrived,
when he got inside, he wondered what the problem was. But the PC was right there in front of you guys. But he was already saying there's nothing here, nothing at all, you can leave, go to your house. This is your house, right? I misspoke. But then he slapped his back saying, get out of the way, damn it, let me see, because I'm in my miserable house. And man, when he got in front of the PC, he was wondering, did I turn off the monitor screen when I left, or was the screen on? Was the PC on, or was it off? What did she do with my
PC? And in those good old thoughtful moments, she grabbed his hand with such force that my friend is like her soul depended on it. Bro, don't look at what's inside. Do you trust me? Then don't mess with what's in there, because you won't want to know what's inside. The worst part is the darn PC was his. She was just fighting to keep him from seeing what she saw there. And about that, the guy's fear was already like this. She grabbed him by the shirt saying, get out of there, damn it, and I don't know what else. Stop. And he couldn't. The moment he clicked the computer button to see what she was seeing, guys, both were embarrassed, because as soon as he turned on the computer screen, suspicious sounds started coming from the computer. So what was it? Give it a like so you can find out, big guy.